Hi, welcome to Outlier Live. So today I will cover about the stock market being in downward spiral from last couple of weeks, and I will start with some of the broader macroeconomic factors that are impacting the market. Secondly, I will pull up some of the data from Outlier platform, and we will look at into each sector. I will pick some sectors. We'll look into each sector and try to address how far we will fall from here. Like, is there a bottom in front of us, or we are in free fall? So we will address that. And then there was a last minute request today to look into Apple stock. So I will be briefly touching base on giving you my opinion on what I am seeing on Apple stock at the end of this live. So let me change my screen here so you all can see. So what happened in last couple of weeks? So the China concerns. So the retail number came very weak over there. There is a concern about uh, prices being going down and disinflation, and so those concerns are impacting the investor sentiment. Then you have Fed released their July meeting minutes yesterday, which is a cause of concern as well, because most of the members over there are feeling that inflation may persist. And what does that mean? How investors are taking it is they are thinking that Fed may increase the rates further, but we do not know that yet. So I was reading this article here in Barron's, and I saw similar comments from some of the other economics. Investors need to keep an eye on this next week's meeting to see whether the Fed is going to increase rates or not. So literally, I would say that Fed uh, holds the key here right now. I mean, if Fed go more hawkish, then the rates will probably go up, which will impact stock market. If Fed decide to pause the rates and show that they may taper down on the rates, that may have a good impact on the stock market. So let me go to Outlier dashboard here. So I have pulled, what I did was I pulled financial sector here. So I went here, I pulled financial sector. Few things before I proceed, I want you to focus on. First is our downside indicator, which is a measure of overall market, whether there are some major concerns in the market, whether we may see a correction, a big correction. So right now, what I'm seeing, at least our downside indicator is active for sectors like discretionary, financials, industrials, materials, real estate, and utilities. So what does that mean? It's like a yellow light which is flashing in front of us, saying there may be something bad about to happen, but it has not started yet. When I will see that indication, if I see there's this red indicator, red downside indicator turns on. So far it has not turned on, so for now I'll be on a watch to make sure that nothing bad is happening. So that is the first thing I look into the platform, into if this downside indicator is active or not. That helps me make a decision whether I want to stay out of the market, wait on the sidelines, things like that. Second important thing, I'm focusing on this blue oscillator, which literally is a measure of direction of price trajectory. So right now, if we look here for financial sector, back in by the end of July, it started taking this turn, and there has been a lot of pressure downwards, right? So this is one thing which is kind of giving me a direction on where financial sector is headed. Like at least it gave me like end of July, August started giving me that okay, I need to be very very careful. So that is the second data point I would look here. The third data point, which is very very powerful, which is this little chart here underneath it, where it shows heightened investor greed depicted in red and heightened investor greed depicted in green. So that means that if I am going to enter, or if I am going to buy a stock, I always look for this indicator. And remember, there's an old saying: you should be fearful when others are greedy, right? So this green thing here I am seeing here back in July 31st 2023, which is like few weeks ago, in financial sectors people were so greedy, the trajectory turned around, and that was time for me to be fearful because everybody was greedy. And back in around June 1st, right, investors were fearful, which is shown as red, and this trajectory is kind of started going up. So that means now everybody is fearful. I can be greedy. I mean, if I am trying to get into a good uh, position at that point of time, I'll look into these couple of these indicators. The most important when you're looking at a sector or an index is this constituent map. What does it tell you? Same thing, you want to make sure that the whole sector is kind of balanced, or at least if you are trying to stay out of the market, like you want to do it when like everybody is greedy, all the companies are depicting that they are right now in that greed zone, which is what we were seeing, right? If you see here, and if you focus on this constituent map below, right, I hovered my mouse, and on August 2nd, around that time frame, I saw there were around 233 companies were in greed, which means that there is a very high probability that correction may happen. And as you saw in last week or so, we saw around 10 banks were getting downgraded. Okay, i I didn't know that was going to happen, but all I knew that there was something that is going to happen because I'm seeing this data. And as we start moving the dates here, as I start hovering my mouse here, you will see that that constituent map is changing. Now you have around 52 companies in fear and 192 companies in greed, which kind of telling me the correction is happening right now. It tells me a story. So how far it will go, I'll keep an eye on this fear greed chart here, as well as this trajectory here. Once it start changing direction, I'll be sure that yeah, this probably is a good time to get back in. So this we saw a little bit about financial sector. Let's look into Dow Jones. Same thing, right? So I look somewhere around earlier this month. I saw there were a lot of companies in greed within that sector, within that index, Dow Jones, Dow 30. Uh, but it started falling off. This trajectory direction changed around this time frame. So at that point of time, I knew that the correction may be in place. Now, how far it will go? It's still in this downward direction. And I believe that I will wait for some more time, maybe few weeks, maybe a month. I don't know yet. But when it bottoms out and changes direction, and this constituent map becomes a little bit more red on the red side, then I will be very comfortable to get back in the market. So it's the same story. Like if I pull other sectors here, so let me look into uh, first discretionary. Same story with discretionary. Back in around June 28, like this time frame, investor greed was increasing, and then you will start seeing a lot of companies in the greed side of it when you are looking at the constituent map. And when it started changing direction, you will start seeing more companies in the red side. So that means the correction is in place. Now how far it will go, again my guess is, I will have to watch this data point to make sure that we have reached the bottom, we are changing direction, we started going the other way, things like that. One of the sector caught my attention today, which was utility sector. It was already in that downward spiral from like July 24th. We saw that the price was somewhere around $68 here for XLU, and then it started going down, down, down. It may be bottom, it may be reaching its bottom, but it has not yet. But the interesting thing here is that we have started showing the investor fear here on this on this chart, which is good news in the sense that that the utility sector may be turning around. Excuse me. And I'm seeing a lot of companies in this fear side, on the red side, which gives me hope that, if I keep my eyes on the companies within utility sectors, I may find some good opportunities in coming days or weeks. So that is something, I saw that in utility sector. Okay, so let's look into now the Apple, right? So Apple, this is something that one of our users um, sent me a request to analyze it. So what I did was I decided that I'll do it on the live show. Okay, so Apple is, again, if I'm looking here, the fear and greed chart, back in March, I saw that there were like an opportunity to get in March of 2023, and from March till literally most recently, it was keep on going up. Investor greed was building up, but at some point of time, you saw that on July 13th, which was a couple of weeks before Apple announced its earnings. It showed me that okay, there is some problem maybe up ahead. So, and you see here the investor fear started kicking in. This trajectory is in that downward spiral right now. Has it reached the bottom? Not yet. I will wait for some more time before it flattens out and start changing direction. And you may find good opportunities uh, with the Apple stock at that point of time. And same thing, another thing I do usually when I'm looking at individual stock is I look into the corresponding sector as well. So as you can see, the Apple belongs to technology sector. So what I did was I pulled technology sector here, and it's behaving in the same fashion. It's in that downward spiral right now. It's going down, and at some point of time it will flatten out and start changing direction. And you have seen this change in color here, which depicts investor fear. So which is in my dictionary, it's a good thing. Why? Because the opportunities show up when the investor fear is high, and because, try to understand here, because investor fear is high, you may see a price drop. A correction may already happened, or correction is happening right now. And when correction happens, right, if you're looking for an opportunity, you want to buy at low and sell high, not buy at high point and then sell low. So that is now how you should, or how anybody should be investing. So yeah, I think that is pretty much it. So today I covered mostly about what I'm seeing within the sectors, what I'm seeing, what macroeconomic factors are telling me, and then I briefly talked about Apple stock. I will see you all next week on Tuesday. Till then, thanks a lot for joining this.